The Patient Administration area lets you view your patient list, add and edit patients, and apply filters to view some commonly used subsets of your patient list. To get to your patient list, mouse over Connect from the top of any page and click Patients. You don't need to go to the patient list to find a patient. You can also search for them using the search box in the upper right-hand corner of any page. Once you're here, the patient list shows you all of your patients in alphabetical order. For each patient, you'll see their name, gender, and date of birth, icons indicating whether you have their address, email, and any notes about the patient, and their primary contact phone number. Active patients appear at the top of the list, and if you have patients marked as inactive, they appear at the bottom of the list. At the top of the page, you can sort the list by either last name or first name, or filter to see only a particular letter of the alphabet. Patient prospects don't show in the list unless you click Show Prospects. You can add visits and encounters from this list by mousing over the patient's name. We'll cover visits and encounters and other ways to add them in a later video. From the links on the left-hand side, you can see lists of new patients, patients who haven't been seen recently, or patients with missing information. To add a patient, click the plus sign at the top of the list, or click Add a Patient from the left-hand menu. Each patient must have a unique full name to avoid system confusion. After you enter the patient's first and last names, the system will check for uniqueness. If the full name you've entered is already used, you'll see the message Name Conflict Not Unique. You can resolve the conflict by adding a middle name or initial to make the patient's full name unique. Each patient must also have a gender and date of birth. Selecting a provider for the patient is optional. In the Rest of the Patient Information tab, you can add contact information, including contact information notes. In the next tab, you can add demographic information, an emergency contact, and an image of the patient if you wish. The Shipping tab allows you to store a shipping address for drop shipment of products. In the Insurance tab, you can indicate whether you have medical and financial release statements on file for this patient for sending insurance claims. To edit a patient, click the pencil icon at the end of their line. The Edit Patient window contains all of the same information as the Add Patient window, and now in the Insurance tab, you can add billing cases. We'll cover billing cases in a later video. When you click on a patient's name in the list, you'll see the patient detail sheet. This gives you access to all of the patient's information and a number of useful patient actions in one place. At the top of the window, you have the patient's name, date of birth, gender, and age, and their total balance owed over on the right. Below that, you'll see their contact information, and below that, a window with tabs allowing you to access the patient's past and upcoming visits, documents associated with their file, financial transactions, products they've purchased, their billing cases and claims, vital stats history, and recent chart notes. If you have labs enabled, you'll also have a tab for their lab results. If the patient has an outstanding balance, you'll see a tab for their AR history. Below all of these, if you have any unscheduled notes or alerts for this patient, you'll see those here. The left-hand menu for the patient detail sheet contains links to a number of patient-related tasks. You can easily add visits, encounters, notes, messages, reminders, or payments. You can process returns or refunds, generate billing statements, upload new documents to the patient's file, or download their entire patient chart or patient file. Also on the left-hand side, you'll see a list of the patient's known current problems, any medications they've reported they're taking. If the patient has other family members who are seen by your practice, you can create a family group to make posting payments more convenient. If you have Label Writer connected, you can print address labels or chart labels from this page. If you process credit card transactions in OfficePro using BluePay, you can store credit cards for this patient and add card transactions here. Now that you're familiar with patient administration, you can add and edit patients and easily access commonly used patient information and transactions. In the next series of videos, we'll cover daily use of the system, starting with adding a visit.